Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Daily AI Show. Today is November 28th, 2025. It is the Black Friday edition of the Daily AI Show. And what does that mean? I don't know. We'll figure it out as we get going into the show today, see where it goes. On the show today is Beth, Andy, and I'm Brian. Happy to be here. Hope everybody who was celebrating or in the States celebrating Thanksgiving had a lovely, safe day with friends or family. I know I did, and I'm back at it, but also it's a day off. So no complaints on my side of the fence. How are you guys? How was, Andy, I know, go, because apparently.
Okay, let me kick it off.
Please.
Happy Black Friday, everyone. This is a special show. You're going to get this show absolutely free because it's Black Friday. Okay.
So, unlike the absolutely free shows you get on all the other days.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Well, we'll have to figure out
I think it's a good call. This is a free resource, and will continue to be free as long as we're doing it. So, yeah, I think that is a good call out there. Who do we have in the chat here? Hey, Cisco, what's going on? Honey curls. I don't know if we've had honey curls in our
Gwen. Honey curls is Gwen.
That's Gwen. Yeah.
Oh, it's Gwen.
Yeah.
We had somebody new named Honey Curls.
Because Cisco came in with their handle. Other people came in with like changing their handle to their names, and now we're just seeing their handles on things. That's why we call Cisco. But yes.
And that was apparently a change on YouTube. Is that,
yes, it is a change on YouTube.
The feed to us from YouTube changed from the person's name to their handle.
Gotcha. So I'm wondering if some of the other ones I've seen now are people that we are recent people in there. Danny AA or whatever it is. Is that somebody we already know?
No, AA Ron is a newer. We do absolutely know them now because they've been regular, but it's a new regular. It's not
okay.
one of
Well, there you go. We have regulars. We have new folks coming in. That's the way it should be. All right. That's all neither here nor there. Let's kind of get into some of the news stories. And I'll be honest with you guys. I mean, probably because it was a little bit lower news day. I did see some stuff come out, but man, I felt like today I had to scrape a little bit harder to get some stuff that maybe I hadn't heard or we hadn't already covered on the show. One of the ones, I'll just kind of bring it up, was SAP, German software giant SAP, has launched an EU AI cloud, a European-focused platform that gives organizations complete control over their AI and cloud infrastructure while keeping data within EU borders. So I got this from, who was this? I want to give credit, the AI Report, the newsletter, the AI Report, which is one of the newsletters I sign up for, and often where I'm scouring for new news and stuff. And they say the relevance is this represents AI sovereignty as European organizations demand local control over critical infrastructure, with stricter EU data protection rules and growing concerns over dependence on US cloud providers. SAP's approach shows enterprises a pathway to advanced AI capabilities without compromising regulatory compliance or operational control. So I will be honest, Andy, I feel like you may know more about this. I feel like this is maybe in your wheelhouse. I do not know a lot about SAP other than I know about SAP. So I can't speak more to it. I don't know if you or Beth, if you guys know more about it, but certainly makes sense based on what I could see here.
Yeah, well, I did have familiarity with all of those major players in the world of information systems for enterprise. But it's been many years now, these 3 years that we've spent together, that my brain has been sort of soaked in AI and not paying much attention, whatever, to the industry structure that's out there that was so familiar to me before. So I have nothing to comment on that. I have absolutely nothing to contribute.
Beth, anything? You got deep connections and inroads into SAP?
Not only do I not, my brain has never been soaked in the other things. Nope, not at all.
Okay, moving on. What do you guys have? We'll move on. Like I said, it was a rough day for doing it. It seemed relevant, but there you go. There's the news. Moving on.
Well, I have something that I'd like to talk about. I have a couple of things I want to talk about.
Sure.
The first one has to do with Elon Musk's XAI. And this in the context of the build out of data centers and their demands for power. And so, like the massive investments that are being made in AI infrastructure are what is raising concern about a bubble. Like, hey, they're building all this capacity at $1 trillion worth of investment in order to support a market space that would have to do $2 trillion annually or whatever in order to afford that level of investment. I don't put me to the test on those numbers. I'm just tossing them out there as kind of the order of magnitude of what we're talking about here. So I just came across this today, which is the Southern Environmental Law Center is challenging Musk's company, xAI, because in order to meet the power requirements of their Colossus power or data centers that they've built outside of, I think, Memphis, Tennessee, and there's another one in Texas underway. Anyway, they're challenging them because they are operating 400 megawatts of natural gas turbines without permits. So why is that a problem? Well, gas turbines create nitrous oxide pollution, and the legal organization SCLC says that they've been using 35 turbines capable of emitting more than 2,000 tons of NOx pollution that create smog and respiratory problems. And they were actually, as part of their lawsuit challenge, they're saying that, look, the surrounding area, which is largely a predominantly Black community where they put this thing, are suffering from this pollution. Okay, so now there's a lot of pushback from xAI, of course, saying, well, even though there's these increased asthma attacks, we're doing this temporarily until we get all the other things in place. And so one of the things that they're doing to try to mitigate the power generation using these natural gas turbines is they're going to build, and they've sought permission, or maybe not permission, but going to seek forgiveness for building a massive like 100 megawatt solar farm right nearby. And they hadn't disclosed the total cost of that project, but that there's actually, as there's existing today in the build out of these data centers, there's a whole different industry of data center investors / developers that then lease the data centers back to the major players like OpenAI and like xAI. So there is actually, in this situation, for that solar farm development, there's also a separate company. Who knows what the ownership of that company is, but there's a separate company called Seven States Power Corporation that is building out this thing. And what are they using for the funding for that? Well, they got a $440 million loan from the U.S. Department of Agriculture. What? Why the U.S. Department of Agriculture? Well, probably because the Trump administration and their drive to support the primacy of the U.S. in the world of AI is finding any way they can, while, by the way, shutting down green energy projects in the Department of Energy, right? Canceling those contracts. They're using USDA funding capability to power xAI's data center in the future now, because this is the solar farm that would be generating power for that system. So that raised my hackles a little bit. I hope it does you as well. I just think there's not a lot of transparency here, but I'm glad that at least the AI newsletters came forward with this, but it's really buried way, way, way below the headlines. But anyway, there's a lot of favoritism and sort of move to the head of the line AI going on here that I think is favoring companies like X in a way that's probably not equally favoring the other major players who are having to invest in this. So, Elon has kind of a quasi buddy relationship with the current administration. He's been on the outs and also back in, and, he's fundamental to the US's space program and to our initiatives in AI and so on. So he's getting, in addition to a $1 trillion pay package, which is, like offensive in the world. In addition to that, and in addition to all of the other tax breaks that he's been afforded in order to retain these sovereign Elon Musk wealth, funds, he's also getting interest-free loans. They got a loan from the USDA, 0 interest.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, 0 interest. Why? Why was that necessary for the world's richest man?
Yeah. Yeah. And well, you mentioned agriculture, and I am sure this is not the case. I don't know, sure. I do know that there is some crossover stories that deal with agriculture and growing things. I'm going to say something like strawberries. I could be wrong here. I just know I've seen reports and studies about the cohabitation of solar panels and growing certain agriculture underneath those certain solar panels. That's actually great. It's great for agriculture. Plus, it also allows you to double up and use the area for solar panels. I would have to get a lot more, like go back and look and study. It was several months ago that I remember seeing that. So I don't know, Andy. I mean, that could be a very thin crossover line.
Yeah,
it may have nothing to
wow,
do with
we could have 88 acres of strawberries to offset the 0 interest loan for 440 million. Let me see, how much is that per strawberry?
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
But
No,
you're right. I hope there are some really reasonable justifications for that 0 interest loan, from the USDA.
Yeah, for 100%. All right, I have a quick weave off of that one. Also, welcome, Karl, just joined us as well. So you were just talking about, Andy, about data centers and building out. And so this is really the only other major news story I had, other than Black Friday and Black Friday deals and stuff like that that's come up. We could talk about later maybe. But what I saw, this was out of the newsletter, The AI Secret, and it said, what's happening? Sam Altman tells investors OpenAI will hit cash flow positive by 2029. HSBC just tore that up, projecting a $207 billion shortfall by 2030 and labeling the company a money pit with a website on top. That's some strong wording. Both are looking at the same growth curve, but from opposite ends of the spreadsheet. Altman sees compounding revenue and efficiency. HSBC sees linear power bills and debt markets closing fast. So their point in this, or the AI Secret, which usually takes a little bit more of a harder hit on this, which is not good or bad. It's just the way the AI Secret writes their newsletter. It makes them different, I guess. So they're basically saying, OpenAI's model treats compute as an upfront bet on exponential demand, because the more GPUs it deploys, the faster the flywheel spins. HSBC runs it like a utility. Each teraflop is a meter reading, not a multiplier. To one side, AI is the next internet. To the other side, it's the world's most expensive data center co-op. Altman is selling acceleration. HSBC is calculating amortization. And I just thought that was a really great way of sort of looking at the same exact, like they said, they're looking at the same growth curve. And you've got Altman and other big players saying, hey, look, we're seeing huge advancements with compute and where things can go. So we're just projecting forward, and hey, that looks like we're going to be cash flow positive. And, HSBC is looking at it and going, no, you just have massive energy needs, and that bill has got to come due. And so who's paying the energy bills? And Andy, I don't know, maybe this goes back to it gets subsidized, it gets pushed or wiped, or it's going through, and now we're looking at shell companies and things like that, and there isn't any sort of visibility into this, at least from our standpoint, to say like who the hell is paying that bill, because the energy ain't free. And unless it's all being done with renewables, or we have some major breakthrough by 2030 in nuclear, and even if we did with that, what are the chances it could be built and deployed? I mean, there's definitely some projects going on that we've talked about many times from the nuclear side, both on the fusion and fission side, as far as efficiencies. But what's the chances that's going to be built and deployed and making a significant difference in 5 years? Probably slim to none in most cases. So the energy is still going to be coming from renewable, not just renewable resources, but coal and other dirty areas as far as energy goes. So I see what they're talking about when they say HSBC, and I think it kind of goes back to what you're you're sort of talking about with Elon Musk and quite frankly, any data center, from the Metas to the Microsofts to the whoever Anthropic is working with, Google. I mean, who's paying the future energy bill, and how does that not have a massive impact? This is assuming asterisks that we don't have some major innovation in in energy, or that there's not some massive turn, and not going to happen in the US in the upcoming years, towards renewable energy, that there's such a push that you're getting to what Elon Musk proposed years ago, which is he took a little square out of Northwest Idaho or some state. And he said, did you know that if this little teeny tiny square that is almost unseeable on a map of the United States, that would produce it, if that was all solar panels, and batteries, that would produce enough for the entire country. And of course, that's not realistic, because who's running all the lines out from that one singular source? Would you ever really do that? And makes you a national risk for all sorts of reasons that you probably would not want to do that. But the point was there, hey, give it enough batteries and enough solar panels, it is definitely possible to create all this energy. But that doesn't seem to
remember that at the same time as we're talking about terrestrial power generation, there's serious effort underway to put solar arrays up in low Earth orbit. Yeah, where they would generate 100% of the time. They'll basically be fixed in such a way that they're always exposed to 100% to the sun, and somehow they're going to, basically launch space stations up there that have the data center equipment in them. But these are going to be much, much larger than than the space station today. You can see the space station going by if you really are careful. And there's some apps online where you can see a way it'll go overhead over you. Yeah. If it's a clear night and it's an early evening, the sun reflecting off the space station makes it visible. Now imagine something that's 50 times larger than the space station, in order to capture enough sun and to host the chips and the power transmission to push it back down to the Earth. Wow, this is what's happening in our near future. That's going to happen because the solar plant that I talked about that's in Tennessee, that's going to be covered by clouds a lot of the time. Like, that's not Arizona, that's not Southern California, right? That's Tennessee, which doesn't have the best solar factors going for it.
Yeah. So I wanted to jump in there because for us in Alberta, so in Calgary, we have the most sunshine out of any place in Canada. I think we're close to 300 days of sunshine. So we are pressing. So our government yesterday just signed a memorandum. We eliminated one of the regulations, very controversial here in Alberta. We hate it because it limits our ability to. It's called the Clean Electricity Energy, something that the previous government did. So that has now been. This is a grand bargain between the federal government and Alberta, and that opens the way for us to essentially, if you want to build a data center and you want to have it in clean energy, we have the most days in sun, so build it here. So now it just opens up the door. And not to mention, obviously, Alberta has one of the largest oil, we are a big producer in oil and gas. It's just
tar sands.
Yeah, we can't get it to Tidewater, but now the agreement yesterday, but it's more important. It's like, if you want to build data centers, come to Alberta, come to Canada, and you can build it. We have solar on top. Like, how many days do you need? Like, we get some rain in July, but most days you get the sun. And even though and there was a benefit of, if you need to cool it, that's okay, because
that's what I was about to say.
20, 30 degrees a lot of the times too. So you can cool your data centers.
I see a pattern happening here, which is in partial answer to your question, Brian, which is who's going to pay for these things and who's going to back it up. And I think it's going to be governments, right? Because this is going to be ultimately justified on national security grounds, that we have to invest in the advancement towards AGI, because whoever gets there first, a la Max Tegmark's Prometheus, the flywheel just spins so fast that you can't catch up. So you've got to be at the forefront, And so there's going to be government shenanigans to both authorize and support and finance the shortfalls that are going to exist in the near term between what consumer and business revenue is generating to support the capex. And so I think that's what's going to happen. It's happening in Canada. It's going to happen here. We're seeing the early indications of it. And by the way, one of the big news items this past week was the new sort of massive program that was by executive order signed by Trump to do our moonshot project in AI. And so there's the government coming in again saying, we're going to support this because China, that's what they're thinking.
All right, so I'm going to do a weave comment on that because if we create a solar farm, a giant solar farm in space, it is at risk for debris impact. And China's space station was impacted on November 14th. Like, it got damaged. Now it's better. The astronauts didn't have a way home. Now they do. They're not coming home till April and 26, it seems. But that's something that we don't really think about because we're not seeing the space junk that is there.
Yeah.
But there is a ton of space junk because we've launched a ton of stuff.
And Starlink. Starlink is now becoming so thick in the numbers of satellites that they put up there. They're small satellites, but they nonetheless scream across telescopes' point of view so frequently now that it's difficult for astronomers to actually see what's beyond this enveloping cloud of space junk that's up there. And I didn't see the news that you're talking about, but I'm really concerned about impacts. Like we don't have an AI system managing with controllable locations for satellites the traffic management of all of that up there. They're just going to collide with each other ultimately, and some of the debris is going to fall into the ocean, but some of the debris is going, when these things start to impact each other, is going to fall on populated areas.
Right, and the thing about SpaceLink and the difference between SpaceLink and the solar farm are really relevant because this solar farm is the Titanic, right? I mean, if you're going to build that in space, you're building a gargantuan thing.
Yeah.
The SpaceLink, Starlink is like, what is it? It's 4 or 5 little tiny satellites in a row. Like they're able to move like a tugboat if they needed to. Right?
I don't know if that's true. I think that they have I don't know that they have propulsion on the Starlink satellites.
Okay.
But
anyway, it's tiny.
While you're continuing to talk about that, I'm going to find out how many Starlink satellites are currently in orbit.
Okay.
There's 70 as of June of this year. There's 7,800 Starlink satellites in orbit, with over 2,300 satellites added in the preceding year. So it's not like 7,800 and it's growing slowly. It's 7,800 and they added a quarter in the preceding year. And then I was looking to see how many of them. This is what I was actually looking up. So it's funny you asked that. I was asking, just Google's OpenAI, how many had collided with space junk or something like that. And it says it's not unheard of. Then it gave me something about 2009. I don't see anything that's super high. And this is also saying, sorry, I'm just reading this. The number of active Starlink satellites in orbit varies depending on reporting date. Actually, it's up closer to 10,000 now as of November 2025, because that last number I had was closer to June. So increasing fast would be the way to do that. And they don't have a super, super long lifespan. In fact, I remember early on, the first Starlink were more of a proof of concept, and they were always intended to be decommissioned, which probably just means burn up in the atmosphere, and taking out of slow orbit and just fall into the atmosphere. So I don't really know more about that, but yeah. And Cisco saying
Cisco has the data here on that. So yeah, I stand corrected. Thankfully, they have autonomous collision avoidance and orbit control arms. Yeah.
Yeah, super cool. So Beth, I know you're commenting back on that, but as we sort of getting back into the news and stuff like that, did you have any news stories that you wanted to share?
So we talked a little bit before, but OpenAI like did a data something bad happened on Wednesday night kind of data dump, that their dev community was hacked and there was a data breach, but it did not affect, like, none of your APIs were exposed. The story is more like, you didn't really want anybody to know this, right? Why you do it Wednesday night before Thanksgiving?
It's the third party though. It was mixed panel. It was one.
Right.
It's not them. It's someone. I think I can't remember if it's a front end provider or someone using their API, which then mixed panel got hacked and the API no certain amounts of data were able to be taken, but then not your credit card or anything like
Right.
that kind of stuff.
Which is why for me the story is more, we shared this when we didn't want anyone to pay attention to it. Like,
Yeah.
I
It's not an accident. Yeah, when these things get rolled out, nor is, it just happens. We say this every year, but like, nor is the models getting released when they do. What, in a 2-week window, right? Gemini, Nano Banana Pro 5.1, 4.5, and I think also didn't Grok also come out with a
Grok 4.1.
4.1, yeah.
all within what, 2 weeks?
Well, I was actually a period of 7 days, I think,
Was
or
it really?
8 days. It was in the middle of the week to the middle of the week, but it was very much like, what a week this was,
Yeah.
kind of thing. Yeah.
And to your point, Beth, like, they sort of buried, like, right before Thanksgiving. It's like, push it out or whatever. Also, we didn't hear about any major upgrades right before the American holiday. So that happens too. I always had a long-standing joke with, in Atlanta. I used to joke with, and I would say, "Oh, it's always amazing that there's no murders in Atlanta when the Braves win big games," because clearly that's ridiculous. But it's like, what gets the attention,
Right. Right.
And so on slow news stories, you heard about all the horrible things, but if the Braves won or they clinched the pennant, man, oh man, it was a great day in Atlanta, And so anyway, I think that's definitely part of the news cycle here.
So this brings up something that I have been wondering about, because everybody dumped their most exciting, biggest thing. What are we getting in December, right? Are we doing shipments or doing that? I mean, it seems like,
I'd be shocked if we
didn't OpenAI imply that they're going to, Karl? Like, maybe that was an AMA sort of thing. But like, are we just getting like the new 1-800 number that like 10 people can call for a minute and a half?
Yeah.
I do like getting. I really enjoy Anthropic's just drop a model.
Mm-hmm.
Like I like just drop whatever, just do it. Like, and I kind of like that way, instead of kind of like, you get the leaks or whatever it is, just drop it. And because I also saw DeepSeek's drop too, and I think that was like on the charts, it was not bad. Like, from an open source, I'm like, oh, let's definitely want to use that for on-prem. That's a pretty fantastic thing to try out. So yeah, there's that kind of stuff but it was fun last year. Every day there was something, and it helped us, and then all these people created content from it. So it was fun. But now we're expecting these things. And I think that's another thing too. It's like, our expectations are so like, we want things like within like weeks and months after everything. I don't like, I see people like, oh, if OpenAI doesn't release things by Monday, I'm switching. And I was like, OpenAI doesn't give a crap about you. They don't care about you. And if you switch or not, that's not they're like, okay, great. It's like, what? But how much expectation do you want? And we all go back to, are you using the models as 100%? Like, how much more intelligence do you need?
Yeah.
Like, what do you need to go use it? Go use all the tools. Go use it.
And that's the thing, right? It's the perception of need, of that I need the next thing or whatever. And I was just saying this, by the way, I wanted to bring this up before I forget. Jennifer said, I want the Santa voice back. Totally forgot. I remember the 1-800. I forgot about the Santa one. I agree, Karl. Like, people don't know what they actually have current access to. But it's that, oh, but I want the next thing, or but I want the next thing. And I was just saying that about Anthropic, that I'm happy to watch the videos in the YouTube about like how amazing 4.5 is for Opus, but I don't need 4.5 Opus. I'm sure it's amazing. I'm not taking anything away from it. I don't see a need for me personally on it. Much like I like to read the stuff about Codex, and Andy has shared that and like what's going on. And also, it doesn't land for me. I'm much more likely to see some update from an Adobe or a Canva or something like that, and like that to pique my interest. You look, the stuff we talked about yesterday, we don't have to get into today, but the notebook stuff, the notebook LM stuff, I think that is maybe the bridge that we have finally been looking for, Nano Banana Pro, into better slide decks and slide presentations, which could kill tools like Gamma or others that have that's the software they created. Or maybe they will, like we saw with 11 Labs, Gamma will just integrate Nano Banana Pro or something like that. I'm not sure how that works, but it'd be interesting. Yeah, go ahead, Beth.
But I feel like, because I was working with a Nano Banana Pro slide generated that I pulled into Canva, and I feel like we're back into like 1995 bitmaps.
Oh,
because
really?
that's what it's creating. It's creating a pixelized thing. So if you try to expand it, it's rough.
Yeah.
And you can't edit. Andy and I have already had the conversation about not being able to edit the text. Like, it's so good and also so bad at the same time. I mean, at least, aren't you a computer? At least generate an SVG, right? Make it a vector.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be worse for editing the text, but at least you can expand the image of something.
Yeah.
Andy, you're going to push back?
I want to move on to something newsworthy here, and that is that our colleague Karl has been really he's been deserving for some times of some Thanksgiving, and so I want to give him some thanks here.
I don't deserve any Thanksgiving.
So my thanks to Karl is that Karl is active intraday, along with all of his other demands on his time, in posting things to our community and also to the AI Exchange. So he's still active in the AI Exchange. And I got the newsletter, their weekly recap today, and they have 10 items where they're surfacing the latest things that were active in the community. And so I read here that video breakdown, Gemini 3 versus ChatGPT 5.0. Karl shared a fantastic video analysis highlighting the distinct strengths of Gemini 3 and ChatGPT 5.1. Oh, and then I moved down a couple more. Oh, exciting release, Claude Opus 4.5. Karl highlighted Anthropic's latest release, Claude Opus 4, which promises to excel in coding. And then I go down a little farther. Oh, mastering prompts with Claude Opus 4.5. Karl shared an insightful guide. And I thought,
I think they need a Karl corner.
Maybe Karl has taken over AI Exchange, and but anyway, thank you. Thank you for all the work you do to keep us all informed, because you do that in our community and you also do it there.
It's part of the job, I think. It'd be like, okay, hey, let's because it's there on Slack, and I'm on Slack with business, and I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool, and it's part of the job.
Yeah, and if you haven't already followed Karl on TikTok or on Instagram or wherever else, you need to, because Karl, in addition to doing this frequent update kind of model with the communities, he also produces very well edited and beautifully presented explainer videos and or challenging conversational videos about issues in AI. So I highly recommend that you subscribe to Karl's channels.
Thank you so much. That's really amazing. That is a gratitude. Thank you. And I you know what? It isn't just, I want to give thanks back to this platform. You, Brian, you, Beth, you, Andy, everyone, like Aaron, Anne, Jyunmi. Like I think our community. I always think back, like, do you remember when we all kind of just started? It's just always kind of neat where we've all kind of grown, and it's just really cool to see everybody doing their thing, and there's a new crop, and then we see that and just see where we're all going. So it's I don't know about all of you. It's still very, very exciting. Although now, do you remember like when we first started, every single news item was so exciting, like every single one. Now it's like a robot figure, whatever. Optimus did that. Oh, whatever. This did that. This did that. This did that. And we're like, oh, we've heard this. Right?
How many actuators are in those fingers? Boring.
Yeah. What? Will Smith eating spaghetti? Oh, we've passed that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, and we bought products like Andy. Sorry to put you on the spot. Like Rabbit. Right. It's like I remember. Like, you demonstrate. You still have it on your desk. Fantastic.
Really? Hold it back up. Why doesn't it? It's orange, isn't it? Well, hold it back up.
Yeah. What's that?
Hang on.
Why is it a different color?
Oh, it's in its case. It's in its case. So here's what it looks like.
Hey, there we go. All right.
Yeah.
Not only did it only come with limited functionality, it lost its color over the time.
Well, that's why I was like, hold on a second. I thought, does Andy have limited edition colors over here? I thought it was orange.
I remember Brian and his rabbit. I can't remember what was that. What was
Thumper?
Yes,
Thumper.
Thumper. Yes, I remember that was
Thumper.
fantastic. Right? I remember Thumper. So that was. Yeah, I just no. It's really cool. It's really cool to see. But the thing is, though, today when we talk about news, I was kind of looking through, and then, you see the neuron, the rundown, and all that stuff, and you're kind of looking at it, and you're like, how it's exciting, but yet not exciting, because you're like, okay, like you just said, Beth, well, what are we expecting in December? Shouldn't we get something in December? We should get something in December. Yeah. We want something in December. And maybe Sam Altman gives us something fun in December. Because it was kind of neat at the very last day. He said, 03 is coming. And
right.
Right.
Well, and that's what I'm wondering. Are we getting the Santa voice back? Are we getting 12 days of dad jokes where you just watch Tex look really struggling for the humor, right? Like, God, please don't make me say this. But also, like, what would it be? Because they dropped such big stuff.
I want them not to release anything in December. I need to catch up. This has actually gotten to the pace.
Yes.
The pace of development and the pace of product innovation in AI is beyond me at this point. I cannot keep up. I can't invest enough time to watch videos even, or even just, do a video highlighter thing that we discovered, to try to figure it out. I need a break. So from between now and January 1, please, no more new products. No releases. I need this time.
It's funny you say that, Andy. I long for like this idea of it's not going to happen. I'm going to tell you right now, it's not going to happen. But man, if I could not do my job for all of December, and I could just sit down and dive deep into, I don't know, Andy, how many conversations have you and I had personally about different projects and stuff? I'll give you. Yeah, it's a backlog. And I even like Project Bruno. Gemini has been funny with me, and it makes me laugh sometimes with its the we part still throws me off when it's like, we don't think this is a good idea. I'm like, who's we? How did we go from I to we? Who's part of this collective we? It's throwing me off. Like, Gemini doesn't always do it, but sometimes it's like, we disagree. I'm like, it's like watching, because I've been watching the show Pluribus. I don't know if anybody's watching that on Apple TV. It's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. I will not ruin anything for anybody, but it's a great show. But it's kind of like this collective mind thing. So it's like all in my head about this whole we thing. But anyway, about the Project Bruno thing, Andy, what I was going to say is like, Gemini basically looked at my 3-month-old, where I had circled back. This was the second big version of Project Bruno. And Gemini looked at it and said, we wouldn't do it that way anymore. It was like throw it away. I got the AI pat on the, that's nice, Brian. That's nice. I see what you did there. Also, unusable. The entire
Right.
thing is unusable. You need to start again. And I was like, oh my God, I need time. I need time to just like sit in it and learn it. And Suno, like yesterday with the song, same thing.
And
you know?
that's the core developer's dilemma right now, right? What are you building that isn't going to be obsolete in 6 months? Now, if it takes you like 12 hours over a weekend to build it, well, 6 months, right? Like that's cool. That's a decent exchange. But one of the things that the playbook workshop that I did with the AI Exchange and Rachel Woods, the idea in that is that you create the workflow, right? So that you know what you're asking the AI to do. You have the input, the output, right? It's systems thinking. She's always thinking systems, which is one of the reasons that we understand each other. It makes sense because that's sort of what's happening in my head too. But you lay that out because the system that is doing the actions that you're talking about may very well shift. But if you have all of the context criteria, success, so like what a success looks like, all that kind of stuff, then you can pivot.
Yeah.
Good. So
New model comes in and you plop it into the system. Yeah.
Right.
And so what I found myself doing more recently as a result of that sort of syndrome that you're describing is I'm working to just hover at the PRD level, migrating across. I did it with Codex. I moved forward. I had a couple of days where I made a lot of progress with Codex, refining a project idea that I had. And I said, okay, well, I want to table that for a moment, and I'm going to wait a little bit. Maybe I want to go back to Claude Code now and start to work with that, because I don't really want to build in Codex. But yes, I do want to build in Codex. Oh, what am I going to do? I'm bouncing back and forth, but I'm ending up staying at this playbook definition level, as Rachel would describe it. I'm not going down deep into anything and actually building anymore, because I'm confused about what's the most efficient and most direct way to get to a practical deployment of that in the current scheme of things. Because gosh, I'd really like to work with Gemini. I've done so successfully before. Codex is really good strategically. Nate Jones tells me, so I'm using that at the PRD level, but I really want to write in Claude Code. It's just, I'm flummoxed.
Yeah.
And you just have to look that up and see how that's spelled. Flummoxed.
Well, it reminds me of the quote paralysis by analysis, right? It's like, there's so much that you don't actually end up making, progress forward. I feel the same way, Andy. Like, it comes at us so fast, and obviously the show is about, that's the whole point of the show. Hopefully people are listening to us because we're helping them keep up. But it does feel like trying to drink from a fire hose. I mean, there's just no doubt about it. And, going back, and the last thing I'll say, not to keep circling back to 12 days of Shipmas, or whatever they called it, 12 days of AI. I do hope they do it, but here's my take on it, just my personally. I don't need a 6.0. I don't need a GPT. I don't need O3 or anything like that. I actually found it interesting where it appeared that they had about 9 days worth of stuff and they were stretching for that other 3. I found that entertaining, because then you got the 1-800 number. And so what I would actually rather is that, like, in my mind, I like this idea of open AIs sort of opening up like a what's it called when you do like a hackathon, and it's like little teams are coming up with,
that would be amazing.
You could do that for 12 days, and I would be so tickled by that, to watch as somebody create something to be like, this is never going to make the mainstream. Okay. But I think it's hilarious, and I definitely appreciate them doing it. It would give us stuff to talk about on the show. I would totally support that. I don't actually need any of those 12 ideas to be the next great thing, for it to be valuable to me.
Yes. Day one, give us freaking folders for the conversations, right? Like, let me just move things and don't talk to me about projects. I understand those are folders. They're not really. I want folders for the conversations. You want to be amazing for Christmas? Give me subfolders for the conversation so that I can not have to stretch the whole thing. Second, give me a slider for how freaking fast or slow the voice talks. Third, give me an interruptibility slider. I don't want you to interrupt, right? Like, I don't want you to be that sensitive. It's okay. I'm in a car. You're hearing other traffic.
Right.
Just keep going, right?
Yeah.
Like, we can give you 12 things that would make news and people would be super excited about in little tiny pieces, which may not be little tiny. I don't know how they put the stuff together.
The development
but
side of it. No, I agree with you, Beth. 100%.
12
so I hope
days
that's
of
what they do.
UI.
I hope they do it, but yeah, I don't. I'm in the middle because, like, I'm with you, Andy. I don't need big things that I'm like, oh my god, like, okay, maybe they do have something in the bank that's sort of their image generator that's as good as Nano Banana Pro, maybe. I don't know. But do I need that this month or whatever? I imagine they're working on it, or they have something in house that's comparable. At this point, I find the image generation in ChatGPT to be painfully slow as compared to using even just Gemini Fast or Gemini Fast Thinking, which will kick you into the Pro version. Even that is very, very fast for its image production. So, when I'm trying to iterate and I'm trying to create cartoons or comics for the newsletter, as I literally was this morning, I'm more likely to use Gemini because I can iterate faster on not that, this, no, not this, that, and I can get 6 or 7 generations and get the comic I want pretty quickly. And that's laborious inside of ChatGPT. So anyway, neither here nor there. Okay, listen, I know we've kind of hit.
I have one news item I want to get off my plate here.
Do it.
Okay, so Jeff Bezos, who had given the CEO title of Amazon to someone else, he's now become the CEO of a new company that he's formed called Prometheus, which is building agentic platforms for industrial automation. Okay, it's focused on all the logistics and factory movements in the logistics world for Amazon, but also applicable to almost any other manufacturing-based enterprise. So what the news is they quietly acquired a company called General Agents. And I'm going to draw your attention, to General Agents because it's a very interesting thing that they're doing. So it's an AI research lab that builds autonomous computer agents. Most notably, it's ACE, real-time computer autopilot. Now, I want to make a distinction here as a former private pilot between a co-pilot and an autopilot. So, and I think this is a useful set of terms in understanding the difference between a responsive, assistant and an autonomous agent. So in an airplane, an airliner, for example, my father was an airline pilot. You've got a co-pilot. Now the co-pilot is basically, there to assist. If the captain says, "Here, fly the thing for a few minutes," great. While I, check the radios or whatever. But the pilot in command is the one who's flying the airplane, making all the decisions. And the co-pilot's job is to keep the flow of information from the instruments and from radio coming to the pilot in command. So that's an assistant. That's what we have today largely. What they're building are autopilots. In an autopilot in the aircraft, what you do is you set the bearing that you want to follow, the heading, or you slave it to your navigation system. You say, follow this track. We're going to this VOR and then that one. And it's going to complete the complete flight plan that way. And there are autopilots on advanced aircraft now that also have auto land. They can go through the pattern and do an automatic landing. Okay. Difference between autopilots and co-pilots for those terms. Okay. So General Agents has this thing called ACE, and you can sign up now for early access to ACE. And it's a computer autopilot that performs tasks on your desktop using your mouse and keyboard. And it'll take over your screen, your keyboard, and your mouse and perform multi-step tasks like moving data between apps, editing media, booking travel, effectively acting as a high-speed computer pilot or autopilot for you. And the team that's built ACE, this General Agents company that's now owned by, is integrated into the Prometheus project at Amazon, are people from DeepMind, OpenAI, Tesla, Google Brain, and others. And they've worked on major things, including codecs. So this is one that we need to put a pin in and say, let's keep track of general agents and the ACE autopilot that they're building, because it's going to be good. They're going to be primarily focused on this particular monetization strategy, which has to do with automated manufacturing. But the same technology that they're developing is going to be very useful for you on your desktop. So it's on my watch list at this point.
I could wish that it wasn't Amazon, right? Like, I don't really want to give Facebook my computer the ability to autonomously work my computer. I don't really want to give Amazon the ability to autonomously work my computer either. Because if we remember, the first DOTS, the first Alexa devices, you had the ability to delete your thing. Don't worry, we're not listening to you. You can delete all your stuff. And then after everybody got it, like, oh, no, you can't anymore. Sorry, we want that data. It's just better for us.
Yeah.
Like, no, we're not doing anything on your computer that you're not aware of. We're just doing everything that you can see. And then, I don't know, a year later, oh, yeah. If you can figure out how to detangle everything that we've done on your computer that lets us see everything, you can undo us, but we're not going to help you uninstall.
Right. Yeah. Be entirely too complicated and laborious and purposefully so to
it doesn't work anymore.
Yeah.
Sorry. Like, I'm not. But yes, I probably will go sign up for the beta after we leave the show. Because
Beth's like, all that being said, I'll probably sign up for it.
I was excited about it because they offered, this is a good technical team, they offered a download file for older Mac OS systems.
Nice.
Which I downloaded, and then I tried to open the application and it would flash and disappear. Flash and disappear. So I don't know. I just have to bite the bullet. I'm looking for a Black Friday deal on a Mac Mini here. I've got to upgrade at some point.
Well, listen, between Perplexity and ChatGPT, you should have all the shopping resources and agents you need, Andy, to find that good deal.
Yeah. And actually, the M2 Mac Minis are like $200, $300.
Oh, I'm not looking to spend at the low end, but I don't want to spend at the too high end.
All right. Yeah. But I don't think it would disappear on your thing, is what I'm saying.
I do want to say, if you ever try shopping, I forgot the shopping mode or shopping feature in ChatGPT, don't just use it for just any products. Try it to buy a house. Try it to buy B2B products. Try it, because it's actually how it works. It's actually really good, because it's just tuned to research. It shouldn't be called shopping. It should be buying. Anything I want to buy, give it a try, because it's like, oh, that actually the reasoning of how you come up to your conclusions is pretty good. So like,
that's
give
cool,
that a shot. Yeah. Give that. I thought it was a really neat way to.
I wonder if you could use that for something like, if you're in some SaaS program like that has other apps in it. So take Slack, Salesforce, same company, or take other areas, or like AppSumos or something like that, right? Where you can add on, you can add to it. Like, can you compare and contrast that type of stuff? Appify would be a great example of that, and all their connectors. I use Appify a lot for one of my projects that I'm perpetually in the PRD version of. But that would be really cool. I did not even think to use it for like digital, or to your point, Karl, about other types of buying things. You're right. I was only thinking about it as like vacuums and physical goods.
Well, but it is connected to Zillow, right? So you could actually get the house buying data potentially.
Yeah, that would be interesting. Yeah, that whole house, like, we don't have enough time for that. AI, it has already shaken up between you said it already, Karl, and you're doing it. The house plans to the digital, like, you don't even need the drones anymore, because you can just like AI generate it and put your furniture in there. And that whole area is getting totally, like, that's a whole show. We should talk about how being a real estate
100%.
agent today in the AI. We got to do it on a show you're on though, Karl, because like we definitely need your input on this.
Yeah.
And Nano
no, 'cause
Banana
it's-
can do it now, right? Nano
Yeah.
Banana can be used to do
Yeah.
that.
But one thing I learned about when I was doing that video is, you know how we always said, oh, it's obviously still better to be the expert in whatever field you're in to, you know, really get the AI to do the work, and because you understand the language. But I was like, yeah, that's right. But what I had to do is actually analyze how to film a real estate video. I know how to do it. So I was like, but if you film it, and I also want you to look at the movements, how they filmed it, not just the text, right? But with Gemini being able to do that, that's the thing. And I said, review that, and then give me, and now understand, and then give me the prompts on how to do it. I was like, oh, it actually did it. And I was like, I think that's like the big unlock, because it's like, oh, there's tons of YouTube videos about anything. So if you want to have the AI like prep it, analyze it, and then go off and do it, that'd be just crazy. Because then it'd be like, how do I fix my sink? This guy, analyze it now, tell me how to do it, or show me how to do it, or whatever. Oh, this is how you do it with this particular component and whatever. And don't turn it this way, because if you do, water is going to be all over the place. So
Yeah.
because yes,
I
I have
think
done that. Water has been all over the place.
I don't know if you have this in Canada, but we have what's called the MLS, which is like basically the real estate, right? I think with an API and an MLS subscription, I do feel like I could be dangerous in my local community. I'm not gonna lie. I think I could probably build something. I'll put this on my list of things to go build, but I do feel like I could build a tool for local real estate agents and be real dangerous with it, because between
forget the real estate agents, ditch the real estate agents, like go directly to the customers, because they're the real estate agents are middle person.
Yeah,
take out the middle person and go direct, like, hey, person who wants to sell their home, you know what you could do? You could do this, and just take a picture yourself, forget this. And I kind of think like, do this, and then away you go. Sorry, real estate agents, you know, AI's coming for you too.
I mean, well, look, just and if you're like, it's one thing if I'm moving from this house, and then when I moved 5 miles away. I already knew the entire area, the entire school system, right? It meant, but like you can imagine really quickly, and we don't have enough time to get into, but you can imagine really quickly, you can build something that's either an aid and a tool, because, you know, real estate agents, it's low barrier of entry to get in. Yes, they have to pass a test, but after that, it does not require a lot of capital to become a real estate agent beyond your time and whatever. So then being able to have a tool and go like, you would be better if you had this tool to show your clients, or to your point, Karl, just so you navigate around that, you know, and help people save money to it. So anyway, all right, listen, we're going to wrap things up because it's that time. And so I hope everybody has a wonderful weekend and a relaxing one. It got a little cooler here in Tampa, so I'm going to go outside and enjoy it. I've already told my neighbor I have a 15-foot inflatable snowman. He has a 15-foot inflatable reindeer, and he has already texted me and said, we have to put these up at the same time. The neighborhood requires it. And all right. So I have that. And then Georgia plays Georgia Tech today. So big game if you're a UGA fan. Awesome. So I'll be hosting the football watch party.
Hey, question for you, Brian. What happens to the Gators? Remember we had that conversation in Tampa. It's like, there's Gators everywhere. Yeah. In the winter, are they still hanging around?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, okay.
They're cold-blooded. Yeah, they don't care. There's actually really cool. If you ever look online, there's actually really cool, not us, but areas where it totally freezes. There's cool pictures where they basically go into hibernation mode and just their two nostrils are above the water line.
That's crazy.
But they're freaky looking because they look like they're frozen in time, like you found a dinosaur. Yeah. Like they're really freaky. Obviously, that doesn't happen in Tampa. It doesn't get that cold. But yeah, no. They're all around. It's not mating season anymore, so you don't see them as much. But usually they're out on the banks of all the retention ponds, like you and I saw together. Yeah. And they're just like sunning themselves. Yeah, right next to the turtles and the birds, and yeah.
Fantastic.
Happy go lucky. All right. Winter and Gators, Greg is saying. Okay, that's it, guys. Have a great weekend. We will be back on December 1st to kick off the final month of 2025 and see what AI brings us. Enjoy your time, and we will see you next week. I have the end stream, Beth. I'm going to give it a shot. Bye.